Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Pulp Picks, streamlined edition of Pulp Picks. I'm Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we are Sarah-less today because she is off doing dramatic things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good for her. But we did work very diligently to come up with 2 picks each because of the low number of members picking today. And Fritz, why don't you get us started?
So my first pick today is Action Comics 1051. I think last time Sarah was gone, we did 1050 as our consensus pick.
Yes.
Yeah, but so this is taking place after that. We've got the launch of the whole new format where it's got the main title with the whole super family here. And then we've got the 2 side stories. One's about John Kent back when he was a kid out on the farm.
Yeah.
And then the new ones. And then we've got our new status quo for Power Girl and Lilith from Teen Titans, way back in the 60s days was kind of her heyday with that. But the main story, it's a lot of fun getting to see everyone together, kind of seeing them actually as a family, getting to see them just kind of hanging out on their off time, getting to see how they interact as an actual team. There's a really funny bit where John finds Superman and he wore this whole other outfit when he was stuck on World recently, and it's really funny when he finds it. But it's great. Mattel is back as the villain, and they're fighting this nice middle ground of creepy murder robot man, but also he kind of hates his life, and you really do kind of feel for him. He legit doesn't want to be doing this, but his hand has been forced to be a villain again, and it's a really fun take on him. The John section, if you're a fan of the original Dan Jurgens, Lee Weeks miniseries that led into the Tomasi run on the character, you're going to be a fan of this. It's a nice little throwback thing. The Power Girl story, it's kind of the first time I feel anyone's known really what to do with her in the longest time, because she's such a weird character to slot into anything, because she's older, just an older Supergirl, so at the time they don't know what to do with Supergirl, so what are they going to do with the Power Girl? Right. And they've introduced this whole new kind of not exactly telepathy aspect to her. She's got this new power. Her and Lilith use it, or kind of using it to help deal with some characters' problems that can't be dealt with on the physical plane. It's a very different, interesting take on it. And she still gets to punch things, so that's great. Yeah. But no, I'm liking the direction they're going with it. The art's great for everything in here. But yeah.
Well, it's a very buzzy book right now.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people talking specifically about hopefully they can do something with Power Girl, because that's a character that a lot of people feel like you're kind of alluding to has not been handled well. So I didn't get to this one yet, but I'm very excited to be reading that one in the next couple days or so.
I'm also always happy when Colin Kennan shows up in anything.
Yeah, so. Well, there you go. Okay. Getting down on the bench there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, I read a couple books, and I skipped a few because I thought, well, can't do Sergeant Rock, done that too much, can't do Amazing Spider-Man, done that too much. And I ticked through a handful of books, and I read a couple different books that I liked, and I was like, okay, this is going to be my pick. And then I had extra time, and I was like, ooh, Saga. I'm going to read Saga. And Saga number 61 is my pick with a bullet. This book was amazing, and we both had this on our short list of books to have this week. And when we were talking about it, we said the chemistry of the original Saga, when it was really in high gear, is back in this issue, and you can start to feel it really getting traction. And now we've got the last story arc was kind of the setup for this, and now we've got the next big story arc kicking off, or it certainly appears to be. Well, let's see. It could be a red herring, but
and it's interesting because they're saying of 3 different kind of, because there's the main arc that issued cliffhangers on, but then there's also 2 kind of smaller side arcs that some of the other side characters are,
which is exactly when Saga was doing its absolute best, when it was hitting on all cylinders, and of course, because it's been the same creative team the entire way through. The consistency is there that you lose in a lot of other books, or when a different creative team takes over, you can be kind of sad that you're losing that magic, which I get, because you're never going to get anything new and great if you keep just doing the same old people doing the same old stuff. But this is one of those magical books where they just need to do it forever. Just you can't stop. You have to do it forever. I need Saga for the rest of my life. And this issue was fantastic. It's the most excited I've been since they've come back from the big hiatus.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was great. Just loved it. And the last page was a jaw dropper. I gasped audibly. All right, so let's get to our second pick here.
So my second pick is the new Sins of Sinister one-shot, setting up the kind of like new... It's like a crossover kind of sort of the X-Men stuff. Like a couple of their titles are going on hiatus for a couple months, and they're going to be replaced with some miniseries, basically taking the creative teams and characters and just going along with this new status quo where... So everything's looking pretty sinister right now. We find out that Sinister has basically had this like whole like side plan, which of course he has because he always does, in the background, basically to like corrupt like everyone on Krakoa to become basically a Sinister clone. And it's really interesting seeing like how everything starts off going like, oh, everything's like going great for him, like everything's going according to plan, and then like how it slowly starts to fall apart, because the problem with having a bunch of Sinisters around is there's a bunch of Mr. Sinisters running around, and they've all got like their own like agendas, and like they've still got like elements of like their original personas in there. So you've got all these different clashing ideologies, and he quickly figures out like, I may have made a mistake.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun. There's this like really cool section in the middle of the comic where it's just kind of like, they've got like Lucas Warnock is the main artist for it, but they've got a bunch of guest artists in this middle section kind of showing like these nice one-page spreads of how he deals with certain problems. Like, what do we do about Doctor Doom? What do we do about the Avengers or the Eternals? And it's really neat just seeing like how all these problems that could come up, they just like solve in sometimes the most darkly hilarious ways. Like the way he takes Thanos off the board is just really funny and sad for a certain other character. But no, it's really fun. I'm very interested to see where they go with it from here, because each month they're going to be like going forward in increments of time. Like the first batch of titles, it's 10 years into this timeline. Next it's 100, next 1,000.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's kind of got like those like powers of 10 X Lives, X Deaths of Wolverine feel, where they're really having fun with the timeline kind of shenanigans.
Yep. Yep. Well, and we've talked before about how well they're handling Sinister right now, and he is, in current continuity, he is by far the best X-Men villain, and it's not even close. Yeah, just fantastic.
He makes a really playful dig at how he was written in the 90s. I appreciate it.
Any references to jealousy about capes in this one, or?
I don't think in this one yet, which is surprising. But
yeah, we have time.
There's all the time in the world. Apparently 1,000 years of it.
Yes, fantastic. All right, well, for my next pick, I'm going to do a throwback. Yeah, and I know that I've talked about facsimiles before, but the facsimile for Invincible #1 is out, and on top of that bonus, you also have Invincible #1 on Deluxe, which is basically the black and white comic version of Invincible #1. And I sat down to read this one as, kind of I remember Invincible #1, and I seem to... I guess I didn't remember how quickly it grabbed me right off the bat. Was it a handful of issues, or was it right away in issue #1? But for people who like to collect, these facsimiles are a great way to get in just an unaffordable copy.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't be able to get otherwise into your collection, but it's also a great way to be able to read a book that you wouldn't want to damage or devalue. And this was Kirkman and Walker at this point in Invincible. So if you've been reading the more current stuff, the art style's a little different than it ends up being. But those iconic looks are still there. And this book, the book, the show, it all grabs you right off the bat really quickly. And I loved it. There's a reason why Invincible is so popular.
It's like... Even without the show, like I feel like we always had people like checking out
Yes.
like the trade paperbacks and the compendiums, but like yeah, with the show, it's just become like huge and again, understandably because it's I'm trying to think if that's the best way to put it because like it's not really like a critique or a satire, like it's just such a genuine superhero story outside of the big two.
Yes.
That like you don't ever really get to see that.
Right. Yeah, because there would definitely be, icky moments it's not the boys,
Mhm.
right? But it certainly touches on a lot of those same kind of elements
Mhm.
that it reminds me a little bit of, it's got a little bit of Watchmen, it's got a little bit of like Squadron Supreme, some of those kinds of things where they touch on like not everything would be all rosy.
Yeah, like how does the world like react and reform around super powered beings?
Right, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, really well. Yeah, and I think that the whole governmental aspect in here really makes a lot more sense than in a lot of other comics. But, yeah, so check it out, Invincible #1. We've got copies of both Undeluxe and the Facsimile here available for pickup. And be sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all the things that you do on all the places that you do them, the YouTubes and the social medias and the website. Again, if you're not able to come in right away and pick up your stuff, make sure that you don't miss out. You can make purchases right online. So, and we'll be back next week with Sarah and doing 3 picks instead of 4.
Or maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe not. Maybe it'll be 6.
Who knows?
Yeah, long format. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
I would love if there's outtakes because like he shows up as like a super old man in the first episode of Next Generation.
Yes, which was great.
I would love if there's just outtakes of him just like doddering around the ship in the background, just like I don't know what I am.